Good morning, council members and staff. I'm reaching out to Mayor Khalid right now to determine what his staff. Call the meeting order, sir.
All right, I will call this meeting to order. You want to sound the roll?
Yes, sir. Roll call. The Honorable Catherine F. Rao, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gums, District 2. The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3.
Present.
The Honorable J.C. Sebastian, District 4. The Honorable Corey A. Reeves, District 5.
Accounted for.
The Honorable Natasha Williams, District 6.
Present.
Thank you. You have I'm sorry, the Honorable Mayor Khalid.
Yes, present. Go ahead, Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. We're here today to present our second public hearing to adopt the FY 2022 tax millage rate. And this is our 10 a.m. meeting, and we will have our final and third public hearing this afternoon, August 31st at 6 p.m. and that meeting will be virtual. Next slide. Okay, I want to start here and trying to give an overview of what the homestead exemption is and just let the citizens know that this is a legal provision that helps reduce the amount of the property tax that is owed by an owner occupied home. And this exemption is established by state law and is voted upon by citizens in a given city, county, or school district. And the basic homestead exemption is the only local exemption currently offered for the city of South Fulton. And so basically the basic homestead exemption is $30,000 plus 3% of floating homestead, which is the CPI, which is frozen. And to qualify for this, you must own, occupy, and claim the property as your legal residence on July 1st of the year in which you're first qualified for the exemption. So they would have need to have owned and occupied the home as of July 1, 2022. And the person applying for the homestead exemption must be listed on the deed. And so they must continue to own and live in the home as their primary resident as long as they claim this exemption. Next slide. And so this is how to apply for the exemption. So this is just basically saying that if you have not already applied for the homestead exemption, which you must have applied before April the 1st, 2022, in order to have this exemption on your current tax bill, which will go out in October. So to qualify for next year, it needs to be done by April the 1st, 2023. And all homestead exemption filings are applied for directly with the Fulton County Board of Assessors office. They can do that by mail, in person, or online. And for any other questions, they can call 404-612-6440, extension 4. And here we list the mail-in or in-person address, which is located at 235 Peachtree Street, Northeast Suite 1100 in Atlanta, Georgia, 30303. Or the South Fulton Service Center, which is located at 5600 Stonewall Tail Road, Suite 224, College Park, Georgia, 30349, and the online website, which is www.fultonassessor.org. Next slide. And so what documents do they need to provide? One is going to be a Georgia driver's license or a Georgia identification. They need to know the parcel number. They need to, the owner's name as listed on the deed, the property address, the contact phone number, social security number, state of residence, current registration for all vehicles, and the registrations must be in Fulton County. You need the date of birth for the owner and the spouse. If it's a trust, you need an affidavit with the name of a trust. So the trust affidavit if the property is in the name of a trust. And things that you need to know: you cannot claim a homestead exemption if you claim one anywhere else. So you can't have it on multiple properties. The homestead exemption do not apply to commercial or rental properties or a second home. Homestead exemption apply to individuals and not to corporations. Married couples may claim only one exemption. That's even if they own property separately. Home exemptions renew each year automatically as long as the citizen own and occupy the home as their primary residence. If the names on the deed change, the person listed on the new deed who occupies the property will need to reapply for homestead exemption. So if you sell that property, let's say in April or May, then that person who is the new owner must apply for homestead exemption for the next year. Next slide. And it says here, while all homeowners in the city of South Fulton may qualify for a basic homestead exemption, there are different exemptions may also apply to property taxes for Fulton County and Fulton County school system. And so there are many different exemptions for seniors and people with full medical disabilities. Disability exemptions are also available for veterans and their surviving spouses, as well as exemptions are also available for surviving spouses of peace officers and firefighters killed in the line of duty. And many of the special exemptions have requirements for age and or income. So in order to find out more information about that, you can contact the Fulton County Tax Assessor's Office for further details. Okay, how does the homestead exemption reduce your property tax? So each property is appraised at the fair market value. Then we take that property is taxed at 40% of the fair market value to come up with the assessed value. The homestead exemption amount is then deducted from that assessed value to come up with the taxable value. And tax amount are calculated using the city, school, and the county millage rate times the taxable value. So on here, I want to show how the homestead exemption reduce your property tax. And this is just using the current city millage rate. So if you have a non-homestead property where it's valued at $100,000, and as I said, we take 40% of that to come up with the assessed value is $40,000. With $40,000, since you're not getting an exemption on it, you multiply that $40,000 by the millage rate, which the current millage rate is 12.899. So your city of South Fulton property tax would be $515.96. Whereas if you take that same property and you get the local exemption, and that's just taking a value of the local exemption of taking 30,000 off of the 40,000, then your taxable value now goes from 40,000 to 10,000. So multiplying that 10,000 by the current millage rate of 12.899, you can see that your city of South Fulton property tax is $128.99. So you have a savings of $386.97 by making sure you have that homestead exemption. Next slide. So here we talk about the rollback rate. So the council could agree that they want to take the rollback rate. The rollback rate is the millage rate that would actually raise the same amount of revenue as last year if it was applied to the current value of the property that was on the last year's tax digest. So the rollback rate right now is showing 9.699. We're recommending a millage rate remains the same at 12.899. So that dollar value between keeping it the current millage rate and doing the rollback rate would be $12,788,120. Okay, and so here this goes in and shows the tax rate comparison that if you take the rollback rate, which is the column on your left, using a property that have a fair market value of $175,000, 40% assessed would be $70,000 the assessed value. You take that local exemption of $30,000 again, so your taxable value is $40,000. If you take that $40,000 taxable value multiplied by the rollback rate, which is 9.699, the city property tax would be $387.96. Using the same fair market value with the same assessed value of $70,000, with the same local exemption of $30,000, taxable value of $40,000, multiplying that by the current millage rate of 12.899, the city property tax bill would be $515.96. So here, this is just a tax rate comparison. Current millage rate is for FY 2022 is 12.899. And that actually should be, should be FY 2021, and we'll recommend the millage rate for FY 2022 to be 12.899 because it's for the tax year in which the bills go out, which is 2022. So we're recommending that it stays the same. So the millage rate is not being increased in the city of South Fulton. The tax rate will be the same for 2022 as it was for 2021, which we're recommending. The advertised increase of 56.32% is due in part to the annexation of Fulton Industrial Boulevard in FY 21. And so the millage rate is established by the levying authority each year, which is the council. So here, just wanted to show the 5-year tax history, which is published in the local newspaper. And if we'll make note of 2022 column, we can see that the third line from the bottom, taxes levied, would be $51,548,112, with the tax millage rate being at 12.899. So that's actually an increase of 56.32%, which I spoke of on the previous slide, in due in part to the Fulton Industrial annexation. All right, so the reason for our recommendation is that in developing and operating a capital budget for a municipality is a very complex and layered task. And we in finance prepare revenue and personnel projection, as well as examine the requests submitted from departments. It is a balancing act between the desired service levels and the cost of those service levels. So with the revenue projections and the expenditures for the FY23 budget, we, along with the city management staff and finance, we recommend maintaining the current millage rate. Next slide. And so here we want to show where the city of South Fulton does not receive the entire amount of the property tax collected. And so based on the prior tax year, the city received only 30% of the total property tax, because you can see South Fulton here, and this is a real actual bill. And you see the city of South Fulton portion of this bill for $4,214.26. The city of South Fulton received $1,358.01. The rest of it is for Fulton School, Fulton operation, and then Fulton bond. So that goes to the county. And this is on a fair market value of $263,200. Assessed at 40% would be $105,280. If it remains calculated at the current millage rate of 12.899, the city portion would once again be the $1,358.01, with the rollback of half meal at 12.399. The same bill with GIL $1,305.36, and that is to the city of South Fulton. So the rollback adjustment is about $52.65. And currently the city deficit would create a city deficit of $2 million if the rollback rate of a half meal is taken. And so that concludes my presentations. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you so much. Nova's agenda is open, but we're going to, I see hands as well. Councilwoman Willis.
Thank you for recognizing me, Miss Karen Slayton Dixon. Thank you for this presentation. It's very informative. And I have one question. Did you ever check with the tax commissioner, Fulton County Tax Commissioner Arthur Ferdinand, to inquire? Well, it's not him, it's the tax assessor's office. I apologize. The last meeting we asked you to check into that to inquire about that 3% cap.
Yes, Councilman Willis, yes, I did. And I actually sent that response in the email that I sent on yesterday afternoon, where I will read it. It said the cap is not on the actual fair market value of the property. It is applied to the assessed value once the floating exemption amount is determined. And so they said it is the lower of 3% or the annual CPI and only applies to homesteaded properties. That was the response that I received back on the question about the cap.
All right. Is it any way possible, would it be too much to ask for you to update that and put that in this presentation? Because I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it once we have finalized the millage rate.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make sure I add that as soon as we're done with this meeting.
Okay. Do you think that would confuse anything? I just wanted to try to make sure residents was informed as much as possible by that, and then put the code that that allowed for that applies to.
We'll make sure that it's worded correctly so that they're not confused.
Okay, thank you so much. I yield.
I'm sorry. Seeing no further questions, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a public hearing, so although we don't have any comments, we need to go through that process.
Sorry about that. Yes, let's open the public hearing. You said that there are none for or against.
That's correct.
All right. Well, that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing now. And now I will take a motion.
So move.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, please sound the vote.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao?
Yes.
Councilmember Gums? Councilmember Willis?
Yes.
I think Mayor Pro Tem Reeves.
Aye.
And then Councilmember Williams.
And Councilwoman Gomes, yes.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Williams? That motion is approved. We are adjourned at 10:21 a.m.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Fulton forever.
Thank you.